Welcome back to Brands Hatch for the penultimate round of the SR1 Radical Cup Challenge. I'm Kev Harris, and behind me right now the cars are getting set to go racing for the second time today. If you were watching the live stream a little bit earlier on this afternoon, you will know that we've already had one incident pack race. In that first lap then off the start, there was about 2 or 3 cars that went spinning. The race was red flagged, and then they came back after the restart for just 12 laps, and championship leader James Pinkerton was the man who made the best of it and took the win. But one man who was hoping to do well this weekend is just over there, car number 19, Dean Warriner. Just, I think, 23 points adrift coming into this one. Unfortunately, he was a DNF, so let's just go and get a word with him and see what was up with that car, because he was one man that was certainly hoping to make the most of the points, but that DNF certainly hasn't helped him. We'll try and get a word now. Dean, wasn't the race that you hoped for in race 1 at all there? What went on?
After race 1, I came into Graham Hill and somebody got a little bit too late on the brakes and unfortunately pushed me off. So hoping that race 2 can bring me different fortunes. Starting second, a place ahead of where I did earlier. Hoping that I can at least pick up a podium now to make up for earlier.
All right, well, best of luck. Hopefully a little drier race as well for you. Were the spots of rain on the track an issue before at the start of the last one?
Yeah, this looks a bit dry now actually. The sun's come out. What better place to be, hey?
Fantastic place to be. Enjoy it. Thanks, Dean. Let's have a quick chat with the man that won the last one, hoping to do the same again here then. James, that was a great result for you in an incident-packed start there. Were you aware what was going on in that first lap just before the red flag?
Not a clue. No, I was completely oblivious. So I was having a lovely time thinking that was a great start, and obviously we got the red flag and had to do it all over again.
But you kept your head for the 12 laps that you did get, and it all went well.
Yeah, it went really well. Under a lot of pressure towards the end of the race, but managed to hold it together. So yeah, good.
What's the game plan for this next one then?
I need to start probably thinking about the championship and just bringing it home. But again, if an opportunity arises to crack on, then I will. Yeah.
Best of luck. Cheers, James. Let's go and have a chat to this man as well. Here's Will Hunt, starting I think about fourth or fifth last time out. Great result for him though, bringing it home in the last one. Will, great result for you in that last one there, but it was incident packed. Were you aware of what was going on at the start?
Yeah, I was part of it, unfortunately. I apologise to Dean. I ruined his race for him, so trying to get back in that headspace and get my head down and just try and have a good result for the last race here.
Was the rain that started to fall at the start of the last one anything to do with the issues?
No, I felt like it was drying up a little bit, to be honest. So no, I was very prepared. Just thought I could get down to a fast lap too soon. Unfortunately, a few of the guys in front were still trying to get up to temperature, and yeah, ultimately it was my fault. But yeah, looking forward to getting back on this one.
Well, best of luck. Will there finishing strongly, getting himself a third in the last one. As you can see, the sun has started to come out. We'll just go to the head of the field, because one man that picked up a couple of points straight away was Ross Elliott, getting himself a point for each of his pole positions. Don't forget 40 points then for a win, and then the 1 point for the pole and 1 point for fastest lap. Ross, you got yourself in the pole position there. Ross, but it didn't quite play out how you wanted in the end.
No, unfortunately not. It was a bit more difficult than we thought, but we got another go. So.
All right, so we're going to move ourselves out of the way here. They're getting sent out even as we speak. So as the cars go out for this one, don't forget this is the second race of the day and what is the third of a 4-round championship. The sun has come out now, but of course a little bit earlier on in that race it was spots of rain at this point in time just ahead of the start, and we're able now to take a look back at it. The highlights then with your race commentator Mark Werrell.
Well, after a red flag on the first lap of the race was restarted, and when the lights went out, Ross Elliott and James Pinkerton were together on the front row of the grid with the charge up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. But it was the man on the outside of the front row of the grid, James Pinkerton, that was able to sneak his way through and take up the early lead of the race, leaving Ross Elliott in second position, Will Hunt in third, and Mackenzie Walker in fourth place, the trio to fight it out over second, third and fourth positions. Through Stirling's, James Pinkerton continued to just pull away from Ross Elliott, but Ross Elliott was coming under pressure from Will Hunt, and on the run in towards the braking area for Clearways Corner, the door was open. Will Hunt was able to scrabble his way through. That pushed Ross Elliott offline, and Mackenzie Walker also decided to grasp the opportunity, meaning Ross Elliott had dropped from second down to fourth in one corner. Will Hunt was under attack from Mackenzie Walker, with Mackenzie finally managing to wrestle his way through and up into second place. Will Hunt ultimately dropping down into third position, but was under attack, having lost the place. Further down through the order, David Tagg was involved in a battle with Ian Cowley for top honours in the Fangio category. On the close to the flag, James Pinkerton was getting caught by Mackenzie Walker for the lead of the race. James Pinkerton was having none of it and wanted to try and wrap up the victory, which he just managed to do on the charge to the line. It was a win in race number 1 for James Pinkerton, from Mackenzie Walker in second place, and Will Hunt completed the podium. Lap. Let's just very quickly guide you through the grid for this second 20-minute race for the Radical SR1 Cup. Number 52, Ross Elliott, once more starts on pole position, and alongside is number 19, Dean Warriner. Row number 2 of the grid is 33, James Pinkerton, and 21, which is Will Hunt. The third row of the grid sees Mackenzie Walker line up alongside the leading rookie in the field, which is Ian Cowley, and row number 4, it's another rookie, Fraser McFadden, and number 18, Mark Williams, was scheduled to have been there, but I don't think his car has been repaired after its race-stopping incident earlier on. The fifth row of the grid is number 62, Simon Bailey, and 95, David Tagg, with the next row of the grid being Andy Lowe and Gavin McAlpine. The penultimate row of the grid sees Sam Ashworth and Ian Ellis, and off the back of the grid on his own is number 24, Paul Clark. So with the points that were accumulated earlier on, James Pinkerton has strengthened his lead in this championship. He now leads by 34 points from Ross Elliott. And Mackenzie Walker, who started the day in 4th position in the championship, has actually now moved up into 3rd place in the championship because of that non-start, as we heard, and those problems that befell him. Dean Warriner, who lost ground in reality and has now dropped from 3rd in the championship to 4th. So it's a 34-point lead for for James Pinkerton over Ross Elliott. Then there is a further 28 points separating Mackenzie Walker. So it's all still to play for in this one. Could the championship be wrapped up in this particular race? Highly unlikely is the answer. James Pinkerton would have to have a nightmare of a race, and Ross Elliott would have to absolutely not only win the race and set the fastest lap and rely on bad luck for others as well. So mathematically, it certainly looks as though the race is going to be heading towards Donington Park and the final 2 races that will take place there over the course of the 24th of October, so just 2 weekends' time before we get the final race done and dusted for the 2020 Radical SR1 Cup Championship season. We'll see who follows in the footsteps of 2019 champion, which was Shane Stoney. 2018 champion, of course, James Pinkerton on the grid. Jerome DeSadlier secured this championship back in 2017. It was James Taylor in 2016. Matt Brooks in 2014. And the inaugural champion was Colin Noble Jr. back in 2013. Those are the list of former champions. Who is going to add their name to that list of champions for 2020? So Ross Elliott on the pole position, his white car with the blue and the day glow flashes to it. It's got the grey car of Dean Warriner that sits alongside. James Pinkerton's car is largely white, but it's got some day glow yellow flashes to it on the front, alongside the white and blue car in the hands of the Brighton-based estate agent Will Hunt, who sits there on the second row of the grid. So the safety car's peeled its way into the pit lane. This final 20 minutes of racing today for the Radical SR1 Cup race is about to get itself underway. Side by side for the lead of the race. The lights go out and both front row men match each other for pace. It's not a bad start from Will Hunt from the second row of the grid, who's trying to make it 3 wide and on the outside line heading up towards Paddock Hill Bend, but it's Ross Elliott who is going to lead the race from Dean Warriner in second place. Will Hunt in third place. I think will be able to get himself turned in ahead of James Pinkerton. And Will Hunt's trying around the outside again there. So Will Hunt keen to use the outside. I think it might have worked, you know. I think he's up into second place and now he's attacking for the lead of the race. Yeah, he's now going to come through and take up the lead of the race. So from 4th to the lead of the race, that pushes Ross Elliott wide, which allows Dean Warriner to carve his way through into second place. So Will Hunt from Dean Warriner. Ross Elliott's there in third place, and James Pinkerton has slotted himself through into 4th place. Mackenzie Walker sitting there in 5th in the early stages, with Fraser McFadden I think completing the top 6, which would mean that in the early stages of this one, here's the leading rookie that we've got in the field, but the leading pair getting away as Dean Warriner looks for the lead of the race up the inside of Will Hunt, side by side as they head in towards Hawthorns. We've got 3 cars fighting over 2nd, 3rd and 4th place, but it is Dean Warriner from Will Hunt, and then 3 wide heading down the straight in towards what will be Westfield, which I think sees James Pinkerton now pick up 3rd position. Mackenzie Walker in 4th place, and Ross Elliott down to 5th place from pole position. So that is not the first lap of the race really that Ross Elliott wanted or needed, because the number 52 car down through the order now, I'm afraid to say, and has left himself a chunk of work to do over the course of the remaining 18 and a half minutes of this race. So lap number 1 about to be concluded, looking to try and break away the leading pair, whilst James Pinkerton is still sitting there in 3rd position. Mackenzie Walker not that far from him, Ross Elliott, and then the next of the cars is the black car with the green flashes, which is Fraser McFadden. So he is the leading rookie that we have in the field. The leading driver in the Fangio category for those aged over 40 is going to be Simon Bailey, number 62, who sits there in 7th place. But they are all, I'm pleased to say this time through, safely completing the first lap of the race. Dean Warriner looking to see whether he can pull away from Will Hunt. Will Hunt just using the curbs on the apex of Graham Hill Bend, and now they charge their way down the straight and in towards the braking area for Surtees. Will Hunt will pick up a bit of a tow here from the race leader, Dean Warren, as they start to build the speeds through Pilgrim's Drop and heading down through Hawthorne Hill. He's not close enough, so the order still remains the same. The top 4 breaking away. Them, I'm afraid, is the spin for David Tagg. His car has had an issue down at the end of the Cooper Straight, and Surtees has had a spin. So David, who's been racing in this championship for a good number of years, has left himself a big old amount of work to do. So top 4 still together as they were. James Pinkerton looking to try and reel in the 2nd place car of Will Hunt. Will Hunt looking to try and attack for the lead of the race. Mackenzie Walker sitting patiently behind, ready to pick up the pieces should the 3 ahead of him trip over each other. Ross Elliott, not really, has got an answer for the leading quartet in this one, who just seem to have opened up the gap in the early stages. So lap number 2 about to be completed. Dean Warriner looking to see whether he can try and hang on to this lead. He's had one win already so far this year. That came at Donington Park for the 2nd race of the season. Will Hunt sitting directly behind him. Will's had a win. That came in the first of the 2 races at Alton Park on the 1st of August. James Pinkerton, we know, has had wins. He's had 3. And the car that's at the back of this train, which is the car in the hands of Mackenzie Walker, has yet to have a win this year in the Radical SR1 Cup. He's had a couple of 2nd places now, hasn't as yet claimed a win. So the leading 4 all together. Mackenzie Walker at the tail end of the train on the first of the flying laps was the quickest of the 4, setting in the early stages the fastest lap of the race. The rest of the field all filing their way round. There goes Simon Bailey under pressure from the next of the cars behind, which is number 34. Now that's Ian Cowley. That will be for the lead of the Fangio Trophy, those 2 cars actually. Might be for 7th and 8th place overall, but that's for the leading car in the Fangio Trophy for those aged over 40. Oh, big mistake for Dean Warriner, who drops a wheel onto the curb line and just beyond, heading out of Hawthorne Corner. That's instantly put him under attack from Will Hunt, who couldn't capitalise on it, and that means that the door is open and James Pinkerton goes through. So Will Hunt was looking to take the lead of the race and has ultimately ended up dropping from 2nd down into 3rd place and into the clutches of Mackenzie Walker. But that was all to do with the mistake that the race leader made and largely got away with, and he almost made another one there, did Dean Warriner. Just struggling a little bit, I think, to get the car turned in where he needs to, and it's just washing out wide on the exit of the corners. So Dean Warriner still leading, quite how I'm not sure, but now under pressure from James Pinkerton, who will pick up the lead. The sun out and shining for what is probably the nicest part of the day here at Brands Hatch. Still feels very autumnal out there though. Ross Elliott setting the fastest lap of the race, as maybe his car's been set up to come on stronger as the race wears on. So 4 for the lead, and all of a sudden now Ross Elliott in 5th place, who was the pole sitter, remember, starting to make inroads. So for the 4th time in towards Graham Hill Bend, it is really now a quintet for the lead of the race, as they all charge their way along the Cooper Straight. The order still, though, as it was, with Dean Warriner, James Pinkerton, Will Hunt, Mackenzie Walker, and then the car of Ross Elliott. Long way off them in 6th place is Fraser McFadden. He is still the leading rookie, though, we've got in the field, the number 7 car. But the leading 5 absolutely equidistantly spread, aren't they, as they flick their way in towards the right-hander at Hawthorns. There's the pole-sitting car down into 5th place, but still trying to make progress. Ross finished 3rd in this championship last year, did Ross Elliott. Was lying 2nd in the championship standings coming into the weekend. Still is in 2nd place, as he brought the car home in 4th position in the race earlier on. Not what he wanted after pole, but it's still championship points as far as he's concerned. Again, Dean Warriner almost running wide, right up to the very edge of the curb line, almost onto the grass, heading out of Stirling, so just needs to be careful. Mackenzie Walker trying to get the overlap on the number 21 car of Will Hunt. That would be for third position, but didn't quite work. So the black car with its red flashes, which is Mackenzie Walker, the London-based engineer, now looking to attack the man from Brighton. Can't quite do it again though. Ross Elliott again with the fastest lap of the race that time through, so might be in 5th position, but a 1 minute 32.583 for the moment. Next, the extra championship points in the direction of Ross Elliott. Is it going to stay that way? Just 1 extra championship points for setting the fastest lap of the race. 40 for the win, 35 for second, 30 of your third, 27, and so on. It diminishes from there with an extra point for pole position. That's already gone the way of Ross Elliott, and an extra point for fastest lap, which is also, for the moment, heading in his direction. So, down the straight again. The top 5 cars still together. Dean Warren is still working hard to try and maintain this very slender advantage that he's got between himself and the pack behind. After his small mistake at this part of the circuit a few laps ago, he seems to have just calmed it down again a bit now. Further down through the order, good little fight that's going on between the cars towards the tail end of the field. That is Ian Ellis, who is under pressure from Gavin McAlpine. That's for 11th and 12th positions there. Both of them eligible for the Fangio Trophy, because they are both aged 40 and over. And now fighting over 4th and 5th position in that particular category. 11th and 12th overall in the race. But a good little battle it is. For the moment though, Ian Ellis is just doing enough. The man from Prestbury, ex-Formula Ford 1600 race, side by side for what will be the 3rd and 4th position, and Mackenzie Walker has managed to squeeze his way through and ahead of James Pinkerton, takes the place on the run in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Is just about, I think, able to hang on to it on the way out, albeit Pinkerton is trying to attack the two of them so close to each other. The door was closing, and eventually James Pinkerton, deciding at discretion, was definitely the better part of valour on that occasion. So, albeit he'd drawn himself alongside, there was always going to be an incident, and I think, yeah, James Pinkerton doing a sensible thing there, thinking, as he suggested to Kevin before this race, just thinking about the championship. If there was an opportunity, he would take it, but he's got a championship to think about as well. Andy Lowe fighting away there with Sam Ashworth, the two of them together. That's for 9th and 10th positions, the final 2 places inside the top 10. But as for the lead battle, still absolutely 5 cars for the lead of the race, and now Dean Warren, I think, is starting to feel the pressure a little bit more now. The gap was a second at the beginning of this lap, but it's nothing like that at all now, as Will Hunt has really piled the pressure on. He was quicker than anybody's been through the first sector of the lap, quicker than he's previously been through the second sector. Mackenzie Walker's trying to close in as well and make it 3 for the lead of the race as they head up towards the conclusion of the lap. And Will Hunt almost got his nose up the inside of Dean Warren, but that's forced him wide on the exit. He raises the dust, and that's opened the door for Mackenzie Walker to squeeze his way through. So again, trying to gain a place. He's lost one, unfortunately. Is he going to try and re-attack on the run up towards Paddock Hill Bend? Yes, he does. Up the inside of 2 cars to take the lead of the race. Up the inside of Mackenzie Walker, up the inside of Dean Warren. What a move from Will Hunt. The Brighton-based estate agent picks up the lead of the race, and now Mackenzie Walker is under attack again for 3rd place as James Pinkerton tries to slide his way through. Great fighting for the lead of the race. Mackenzie Walker almost runs a little bit wide coming out of Druids, but we've still got 5 for the lead of the race. But what a move it was for Will Hunt, not just gaining 1 place, but gaining 2 at Paddock Hill Bend. Through the left-hander at Surtees corner. We're at the halfway point of the race as well. This front 5 have really broken away from the pack behind. There's still a good fight going on for the lead battle of the Fangio class as well. That is Simon Bailey fighting away with Ian Cowley, which is down further through the order. But this lead battle of 5 have been absolutely on a par with each other throughout the course of the first 10 minutes of the race. And now that Will Hunt has taken the lead of the race, he's just looking as though he's pulling away a shade more here. So Will has already had 1 win so far. That came in round 3 of the championship at Donington Park. Dean Warren in 2nd position claimed the win at Snetterton. Mackenzie Walker, who's there in 3rd place, equalled his best result of the season, finishing in 2nd place earlier on. He'll be desperate to try and at least stay in the podium slots. Will Mackenzie Walker, only 24 years of age, used to race in the Lotus Elise Trophy in the UK, but he's got the former champion, the 2018 champion, right behind him as Will Hunt, does pull away in the lead of the race, just pops in the fastest lap, as we've just seen, 1 minute 31.290 for Will Hunt, starting to gap what is now 4 cars fighting over 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th places. So out of Druids for the 8th time down in towards Graham Hill Bend. 8.5 minutes just over of the race remaining. Dean Warriner again under pressure from Mackenzie Walker. Is Mackenzie going to try anything up at Surtees? Yes, he does. Up the inside, side by side on the way into the corner. Mackenzie Walker's got the job done. Picks up 2nd place from Dean Warriner, who drops down to 3rd place and will now come under pressure from James Pinkerton, that sits directly behind him. And all of this is playing beautifully into the hands of Will Hunt, who's opened up the lead of the race. We are still side by side for 2nd and 3rd place. Eventually Mackenzie Walker gets it done by the time they get towards Hawthorns. So it is a place gain for Mackenzie Walker, and on the way out of the corner it's place gain for James Pinkerton. Another position lost for Dean Warriner, who was 2nd at the beginning of the lap and now finds himself down into 4th place and has got another car queuing up to take it away should he make a mistake. Sideways through Stirlings, that was a bit of a mistake there, but he's gathered it up, and now Ross Elliott was looking to try and gain a position as well. Well, Dean Warriner just at this stage just seems to either have not the car underneath him that he wants, or is maybe just overdriving the car. He's coming under pressure from the cars behind. Still this good fight going on between Gavin McAlpine and the car of Ian Ellis. Gavin McAlpine now ahead of Ian Ellis, so that's been a change for 11th and 12th place over the course of this lap. So that has just occurred, that overtake. But as for Gavin McAlpine, can he pull away any further? 44 years of age nowadays, the man from Bicester, and he's looking to try and pull away now from the ex-Formula Ford 1600 racer, the Prestbury-based 53-year-old. So Mackenzie Walker and James Pinkerton still together. This will be for 2nd and 3rd position. Out of Druids. Now this is the fight between Sam Ashworth, who finished 3rd in the Rookie Series last year. He's got Andy Lowe directly behind him. They will be fighting over 9th and 10th position, and Sam Ashworth has just got himself ahead at the beginning of this lap. So that's a shuffle in the order. Down towards the braking area for Hawthorne Bend they'll go. There's Ian Cowley. Now he sits there in 8th position. That's the lead battle for the Fangio class, that is. So that's Simon Bailey, and who is leading the Fangio class. The black car that's directly behind him with the blue flashes is 2nd in the Fangio class. So that is a class battle. And then we get the next two coming through, which is going to be the car of Sam Ashworth, making his first appearance in the Radical SR1 Cup for 2020. We haven't seen anything else of Sam over the course of this year. And now he's got ahead of Andy Lowe. He's starting to pull away as Mackenzie Walker pops in another quick lap that time through. 1 minute 31.067. That brings the lead advantage down. So it was 5 for the lead. It's now sort of really 3 for the lead at this stage, because Dean Warriner in 4th place, the grey car, has dropped away. He's still got Ross Elliott with him, but the trio up the road in the podium places are all still reasonably close to each other as well. Now it looks as though there's a very slight amount of damage to the front left corner of Ross Elliott's car. It just looked as though there might have been a brush against something. There goes Will Hunt, there's Mackenzie Walker, there goes James Pinkerton, the man who leads the championship coming into this one. Remember, he's on 185 points, I think, if I've got the maths right, coming into this race. That gives him a 34-point lead over Ross Elliott. And in this race, James Pinkerton is currently 3rd on the road. That would net him an extra 30 championship points. Ross Elliott is 5th on the road. That would net him an extra 24 championship points. So the championship advantage would increase further, and potentially, mathematically then, it could be done in the first of the 2 races at Donington Park. The championship stitched up for the 2nd time for James Pinkerton, if they stay where they are. So here's Gavin McAlpine, still under pressure from Ian Ellis, the man from Prestbury at the wheel of the lighter blue car. Still hounding Gavin McAlpine ahead. 2 of them, as they came over the start-finish line, were separated by 0.4 of a second, fighting over 11th and 12th places. Now this is the fight for 4th and 5th place. Dean Warriner still under attack from Ross Elliott. Ross Elliott really needs to try and score as many championship points as he can, because he'll be well aware that his main championship rival is ahead of him, and at the moment poised to outscore him. Where's the fastest lap of the race additional point going? That's going to way of Mackenzie Walker currently. So he would pick up an extra championship point for finishing in second place and setting the fastest lap, which is exactly what he did in race number 1, the black car. There goes Mackenzie Walker. He finished second and set the fastest lap in race number 1. He's second in this race and has set the fastest lap, albeit a tenth of a second quicker than he managed in race number 1. That's largely because conditions are now slightly more favourable. Ian Ellis fighting away with Gavin McAlpine, but as you see, the order has shuffled now between those two. So it's Ian Ellis who's back ahead of Gavin McAlpine for the lead of the race, though. Will Hunt is getting caught, you know. A little bit slower through the first sector was Mackenzie Walker. He is quicker, however, than the race leader through the second sector. Don't think the gap will have come down much more than a few thousandths, but it's going the right way. 0.963 of a second at the start of the lap, 0.851 at the end of the lap, so it is just being chipped away at by Mackenzie Walker. But with only less than 3 minutes to go, chipping isn't quite going to do it, I'm afraid, for Mackenzie Walker. He's got to take more chunks out to properly catch the car ahead, and then somehow needs to try and work out what he's doing that. Is there an opportunity to grab the lead of the race? Because time and opportunities are certainly running out, and Will Hunt looking as though he is poised for victory number 2 of the weekend. Oh, sorry, victory number 2 of the season. James Pinkerton, with a championship to think about, will more than be happy to settle for third place. He'll want the win, as he said to Kevin Harris earlier on, but championship to think about, and whilst he is still on the podium and, more importantly, outscoring his main championship rival who is behind him, that is more than good enough as far as James Pinkerton is concerned. So 2 minutes to go. The cars will be heading on to their penultimate lap of the race next time through. So Will Hunt down through Dingledell up towards Sheen Curve. They might actually be heading on to their last lap of the race next time through. It depends as to how much time is left on the clock. Last time through it was a 1:31 from Will Hunt. We squeezed 8 laps out of the race earlier on, but of course that was a reduced distance because of the red flag that we had at the start, so it was a 12-minute race rather than the originally scheduled 20. As they head over the start-finish line, I think, yeah, it will be onto the last lap of the race now. Good fights all the way down through the order in this one as well. There's still no let up in the pressure, as the number 22 car of Andy Lowe is now looking to try and hang on to that position. Our race leader carving his way through traffic now, so Will Hunt starting to deal with some of the traffic, and that now means that the lead advantage has dwindled down to just 0.3 of a second between himself and Mackenzie Walker. James Pinkerton is also pushing hard. He's now just set the fastest lap of the race, so the extra championship point going the way of the third place car that leads the championship overall, James Pinkerton. 1:30.668. That's half a second quicker than the fastest lap that was posted in the race earlier on today, so going to show how conditions have improved. But for Will Hunt, he's now only got, half a lap to go really, threading his way around through the right-hander at Hawthorne for the final time. Still under pressure from Mackenzie Walker, so still can't afford to make any little mistake at all through this fast and flowing but quite technical section of the circuit. Flat out through Dingledell, onto the brakes, pitch the car in towards the blind entry at Sheen Curve, and then from there it's just make sure you get your braking point right for Stirlings and get cleanly off Clearways and Clark Curve, because the checkered flag will be readied for Will Hunt. The clock will tick to 0 just before he gets to the start-finish line. So Will Hunt looking as though he is on course for his second win of the 2020 Radical SR1 Cup Championship season, backing up the win that he took in round 3 of the series at Oulton Park. It's a win for Will Hunt. In second position, as he was earlier on, it is Mackenzie Walker who finishes in second place, and James Pinkerton finishes in third place. Fourth place over the start-finish line, it's Dean Warriner in fourth place, with Ross Elliott in fifth position, unfortunately losing out yet again to his main championship rival when it comes to scoring in that one. He will finish in fifth place. Sixth place should be the leading rookie home that will finish in sixth place. Just taking the checkered flag now will be the car of Fraser McFadden, who is the leading rookie home. And in the Fangio category, they had a good battle all race long. They're only separated by a tenth of a second coming over the start-finish line. It was Simon Bailey from Ian Cowley in the Fangio class for those drivers aged over 40 years of age. So Will Hunt turns his way off the circuit and back into the pit lane area. That means that is the Radical SR1 Cup done for the day here at Brands Hatch. It's only 2 weeks' time, though, before they'll be back out on circuit for their final race weekend of the season. The results, it's a win for Will Hunt. In second place is Mackenzie Walker, and third place is James Pinkerton. Dean Warriner finishes in fourth place, ahead of Ross Elliott in fifth place, and in sixth position, the leading rookie home was Fraser McFadden. Seventh place goes the way of the leading car home in the Fangio category, which is Simon Bailey, just ahead of Ian Cowley, who finished in eighth place, and ninth place is where we see the number 22 car of Andy Lowe. Completing the top 10 was Sam Ashworth. After Sam Ashworth in 10th place, 11th place went the way of Ian Ellis. 12th place was Gavin McAlpine. David Tagg and Paul Clark completed the finishers. And that is us done and dusted with the Radical SR1 Cup here from Brands Hatch. But don't forget, more racing coming up from them in just 2 weeks' time at Donington Park. Join us when we're in the East Midlands in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, goodbye.